tight, closed track, and they're going to be racing in the Origin X1 velocity, with the top speed of 206 meters per second. Now, this is going to be ran in 4 initial heats, 4 racers per heat, and they complete 3 laps on this track in order to determine their placement in either the finals or the runner-up finals heat that are going to happen later on.
But there we go. We are off for heat number 2. And
like
yeah,
Sanji Sama had a good start. Gerbo the Gnome with a little bit of a delay. So
yeah, Sanji absolutely smashed it. Gerbo chilling a little bit and seeing where everyone was going. You can see that they sort of tried to start, but then waited a little second. So Kratagos looks stationary right now, which I imagine means we've got an explosion.
Not a good sign.
Yep, that is
man.
But very, very well done, Amarok's Fang. You're going to take first place in this heat and move on to the finals. Premier Corps Colonial, the chat favorites, they're going to get second place and move up to the runner-up finals. But there you go. You can see at all of the major turns completely lit up, right? So you should be able to, hopefully, hopefully, you should be able to avoid most obstacles when you're coming around. Oh, that's not where you want to be.
All
right, we're good. We're good.
Look like a fun place to hang out.
Which? Oh no! And on camera, D McFly, also with an explosion.
Paints himself. Who are we going to see in the finals here, Cronzy?
Well, you're going to be seeing Blackhawks right here as we finish through this lap. We're going to be seeing them run it back pretty soon. But then, of course, we're going to be seeing Big Flex from Amarok's Fang, Gerber the Gnome from Punchnose, and Chex League from Delta Dietus. A truly terrifying top 4. But Neojet and Blue Barafina are fighting for this first place position in these first few turns. D McFly going to catch up. Everyone right on top of each other out of that turn. The only one behind is Amur right now. We have 3 racers on top of each other. This is a great development. There we go. Amur with a little bit of height there. D McFly going to head over a little bit too far to the left. Barafino does take the height. Neojet comes out of that turn with the best speed and is going to be our current leader coming around. So that is a great development there for Neojet has come around this time. Winning our runner-up finals and taking 5th place. Congratulations to Catcom. Well done. What a huge development there at the end of that race as Neojet ends up with that collision right on the final 2 turns. Yeah, so you can see much of the clearer here in the daytime. So you can see this whole big lake section in the center. And we're just going around it. Relatively simple. We've got a couple of checkpoints that our competitors have to go past, which is assisted by our awesome staff members. Yep. And speaking of get going, there we go! On we are! Race. Big fight here between 3rd and 5th place at the moment, which, once again, I have to keep bringing it up because it's very cool. We had the points changes. Those places make a lot more of a difference than they used to in the long run. So you are very, very happy with a 5th placer up this year.
So many rocks here. I can't imagine driving in pitch dark. First person or third person. I know these teams like to fluctuate between that depending on the situation. Yep. And also having to contend with your racers behind. So Emios under extreme pressure from NeoJet here as we scrape the ground. Sanji Sama catching up real quick, and we know Sanji Sama is a great ground racer, multiple time Dama Rally winner. So this is going to be huge if Emios can keep the lead here. It looks like a DNF from Flint's Freeriders.
That is going to be super rough for them though. Died due to frostbite. Friends and family, please remember, wear your thickest armor. We also have a DNF from Nexus. Please don't tell me it's the same thing. Oh no!
Oh no! Gimply, my friends.
You gotta, guys, come on. You gotta wear your big armors. It's cold out there, alright?
Oh no. Steyr
Very
is just
unfortunate.
DNF.
Yeah, so that's going to be NeoJet out. Unfortunately, not able to bring it back after the upset during the runner-up finals last round. We will get a confirmation of what the DNF is, but I've got a feeling I already know the answer. We do, unfortunately, Enigmatic have confirmation. NeoJet died of frostbite.
I can't believe it.
We're about halfway through the race, at least in terms of time-wise. So the fact that we even have 3 races right on top of each other this far into the race is really surprising. Oh, no. Well, Ngriff, who was previously the sort of like the 4th member that was almost part of that group that we were talking about, also DNF. I've either participated or commentated in every System 7 that's happened. I don't think this has ever happened.
I have to say, sunrises on Clio will have to be some of the most stunning that you'll ever see in the verse. That purple atmospheric hue spreading throughout the mountains, reflecting that light. You can see it just splashing off the mountains on the right side, making this beautiful gradient. We couldn't have chosen a better spot for this track, to be honest.
Gravity Cat has well and truly slotted into the top 3 now, I think, which hopefully we'll see soon. And there we go, by the way. We have our first finish. Punch, Nomi's, Herbie is going to be our first across the finish line with a 40-minute lap. Now we're just doing some spins to show off. So well done, Herbie. Sorry that we missed that, but unfortunately, you're too fast. Oh, 7 StarCitizens, and welcome back to the System 7 here, hosted by Atmo Esports. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. I am joined here once again by Red Monster SE. How you doing, Red?
Good to be here, Croncy, and excited for another day of racing. We're out here for races 1 and 2. Now, we've already completed 3 races 3, 4, and 5. 1 and 2 getting postponed initially, but we're back at them. We're getting back on the schedule, but there's already a lot of points on the board and some good points to be earned today, putting those teams up into the lead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it might say race 1 and 2, but this is race number 4 and 5. Don't worry about it too hard. The point is that we've got some awesome racing coming for you guys. So this is going to be a good, fun one. We had some awesome races over the course of the last few weeks. Positions are live.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. So before we get into any of that, though, before we start talking about all of the cool things that we have seen already, we do have something pretty cool to show you guys. So let's run it.
Yeah.
That is right. Ship racing is coming to Atmo Esports with Gravity Rush. GravityRush.gg. Sign up start May 12th and will last for a month. So that's, well, for me, that's tomorrow. But that's 2 days from now, roughly. So make sure you guys go and sign up. It's going to be good fun. Ship racing has been absolutely fantastic recently, and it's awesome for us to expand into that. There are going to be time trials as well, beginning at scr.gg, that are going to last that length. This is going to be organized by Atmo Esports and Laser, which is Litho Aerospace Racing.
Yep. And this is where you're going to test your skills in Gravity Rush 2955, a high G multi-stage tournament where the fastest pilots are going to battle for glory. Now, the time trials do begin on May 12th, close on June 16th. And there's some pretty good prizes out there on the line. Tentative right now, there's the obviously the Gravity Rush trophy, the bragging rights there. But the top 3 racers get an invitation to the Atmo Esports next LAN event, as well as flight sticks, Gravity Rush jersey, and a Gravity Rush medal, as well as some digital goodies from CIG.
Yeah, so it's going to be an absolutely fantastic one. Remember, gravityrush.gg. Make sure you head on over there and get signed up. But that's far in the future, Red. Who cares about far in the future? We're here today for the System 7. So let's talk a little bit about what happened in our last 2 races. So we did a double race day, like we're doing today, actually. We had both a heat race as well as an endurance race. Why don't you get us started? How did race number 5, technically race number 2, go?
Race number 5 here with the various heats at the reverse snake pit. Now, we had quite a lot of contenders there and some really close moments. But I'll tell you what, Team Punch Nummies really bringing up the lead here. We had Gerber the Gnome, not only with the fastest lap time, but securing a full, was it 26 points, 25 points for taking first place, plus the bonus there. The second place team was Delta Diatus Racing, followed up by Amarok's Fang and Blackhawks, that all ended up in the finale. Now, runner-ups there were Catcom, Premier Core Colonial, Lives Motorsports, and Sire Racing Team, which happened to notch themselves some additional points on the leaderboard.
Yeah, fantastic. It was an absolutely fantastic race, especially the semifinals and the finals, or the runner-up finals and the finals, watching both of those and having literal like fights in the final lap for each racer to secure the final position. It was awesome to watch. One of the most entertaining parts so far of the System 7. Moving over, we then ran it. Sure. Moving over, we then ran it back with an endurance race over at Lake Clio. This is a sort of callback to an old race that we had done in the past, and kind of like what you just said, Team Punch Novies ran it back. They got the back-to-back wins in the last race with just an insane lead there from Herbie. I believe it was a full 5 minutes ahead of second place. So it was a huge run for them. And the leaderboard itself got a bit of a change up over the course of that day. Obviously, we had a double race day. That's going to happen, but it really has developed. We are in the midpoint now, right? We've only got 4 races left. We're going to be seeing 2 of them today. So everything that happened then has sort of now, it's caused those initial, what's your strategy to top 3, you know?
Yeah, you know, there's a very minimal point spread among the top 3, top 4, 5 positions. Obviously, getting these races done today, locking those points in, I think that's going to be super important today. We've got 2 opportunities to get points on the board, as well as fastest lap bonuses for each. So we may see some teams positioning for that as well. Leading up at the top, obviously Punch Nomies with the back-to-back wins yesterday, securing themselves at the top of the leaderboard, 61 points, but not far behind is Delta Diatus Racing with 55 points, and Amarok's Fang, Blackhawks, and Catcom leading up the rest of those top 5.
Yeah, this has been a huge development of the day. One of the big things I want to talk about is Delta Diatus Racing. So our previous winners and sort of our consistent winners were Punch Nomies, Amarok's Fang, and Blackhawks. Across the years, they've been our consistent top 3 for recent memory, with Delta Diatus always just being always the bridesmaid, always just barely not able to breach it. And they are right now pretty comfortably second place, to the point where as long as they get some points today, they're still going to be sitting in the top 3. So this is a story that we're going to be watching over the course of the next few races, especially today as we get 2 races through and we see this completely change. Now, one of the other big things is that, we had the rules point changes this year to make it so that pretty much as long as you get 5th place or higher, you get a pretty solid amount of points. You get a very decent amount of points. And you're always happy in that situation. What that has meant is that, our top 8 are a little bit further ahead than they would have normally been in previous series. So there's still plenty of room for these guys to grab some points. We've still got 4 races to go. So this is all going to change today. And we're excited for you guys to come and watch it. So, Red, let's have a look at the first race that we're going to be watching today.
Yep. So this is the Leisure Loop. It's going to be run on the Prospect Point platform above Crusader, where we've got a pretty interesting track here that the racers will have to navigate through a number of, obviously light poles are going to be their biggest obstruction, but this one is going to be run out over the course of 8 laps, featuring the Greycat STV with a top speed of 34 meters per second. So this is an expanded concept of the Cloud Chasers race that we'll see later on within these platforms. So all teams are going to be starting together on the grid to finish this circuit.
Yeah, and one thing you've got to be careful about with these maps in particular is I don't know why Crusader security don't love the idea of railings, but very, very easy in some of these turns if not too careful, for you to knock yourself off the platform entirely. And, we're in the PU here. If you knock yourself off the platform, you are done-skis. So gonna have to be really careful in a couple of these tight corners. This race is a little less concerning for that sort of stuff than the possible next race, but we'll see that as it comes through. But really excited for this one. I love the STV. I love to see it get a bit more showcase, and excited to see what our races can do.
When I first tried it out, I felt like it was a surprisingly agile vehicle, and it's going to be interesting to see how it fares on the platforms today, especially since there's not a whole lot of a lot of paved areas within this track. There's more freeform compared to the Cloud Chasers. We do have a few bridge crossings that will be an interesting one. And as you mentioned, Crusader just doesn't believe in handrails. So an occupational hazard here that we may see happen. It's kind of tight on some of these clearances. So we're going to have to watch how these racers are going to be maybe moving for an overtake. They are starting on a grid. So overtaking is going to be kind of a difficult challenge to get through. But over the course of these 8 laps, I think we should see a good amount of movement.
Yep, definitely. Let's move on to race number 2 that we'll be watching a little bit later on, as we head on over to a classic of the System 7 genre, Cloud Chasers. I absolutely love Cloud Chasers. So it's a little bit of a smaller route than the one that we just experienced, using the mule for this one. And it's pretty much everything we just said about the last track kind of applies here. There's no handrails. There is like some, there is enough pavement for you to drive around, but there's not enough pavement usually for you to go side to side with someone. So there's a little bit of terrain issues, but it is an absolutely fantastic one. What do you think about this one, Red?
Yeah, it's the older of the 2 tracks. You mentioned the wide pavements that are here do provide a little bit more space for those overtakes. And one thing that the teams are going to have to watch out for is that hard right turn on the back end of this track. You cannot cut that corner. They've got folks there that are going to be enforcing that. And obviously the light poles, other fixtures and stuff throughout the racetrack, providing some obstruction as well. There's a tower right smack dab in the middle there. We've got a section that goes in with an underpass to get you from the horizontal into the vertical leg out of this. So lots of opportunities to see some movement. And this one's going to be running heats. So we'll see some competition here with 3 laps each, and hopefully score some good points for those teams that can master this track.
Yeah, it's a really interesting heats in there as well. We have Amarok's Fang and Blackhawks are in the same heat number 2. That's going to be a really fun one to watch. So this is going to be an interesting one to develop. Obviously, we had all of that absolutely fantastic entertainment we saw from the last heat. Unfortunately, the Mule I think isn't as entertaining necessarily of a vehicle as a Nox is going full speed, but you know, we'll deal. So those are going to be the 2 races that we're going to see today, guys. So make sure you give all of your support to all of the races in the teams that are running today, as they're going to need it. It should be a good time.
Yeah. Yep. And again, the Drake Mule going to be a really entertaining vehicle here. We'll see if you got the forks out on that little forklift. It caps out at 32 meters per second. So we're not going to be getting the blistering speeds we saw at the Snake Pit. Probably not as many DNFs due to crashes, but there is a risk. Again, those platforms with the railings, we're going to see who can survive that. Now, the one thing they won't have to fight with is the environment. We noticed on the Clio Valley Pass, we had a lot of those racers succumbing to frostbite during the event, but the temperatures are all moderate here on Orison.
Exactly.
Crusader.
Yeah. Nice holiday temperate.
It's like they built it that way. So what have been some of your highlights up to this point? I mean, last week, our last races, it was Neojet right there at the end for the Snake Pit track, just barely squeaking out. Anything else that stood out for you?
What I did really enjoy seeing is we had at the Clio race, the Clio Lake race, seeing the differences in styles from our racers in their preparation and then their sort of like routes. Their route making during their practice, right? So we had these kind of 2 packs diverge pretty much immediately off the racetrack. Some headed left, some headed right. The ones who headed right did have an advantage for maybe like 2 minutes as they're climbing up this little mountain section. The second that they got to that mountain section, though, those the players that were on the right side started slowing down a ton. They had a lot more aggressive terrain to deal with, and the groups on the left were just like, yeah, no. And they just went absolutely crazy fast down the mountain and were just super, super ahead. Really, really cool to see that. And then that sort of develop as well through the entirety of the race. I really enjoy that. It really shows just how much some of our teams go into all of their practice, because you know it's a very unique event. We had one situation where it's like, you know, if you did just want to draw a direct line between 2 objectives, you could, and it would be very fast to go in that straight line. Problem is, there was like a 5,000 meter tall mountain in the way, and so some of our races followed that line, and they ended up like 25 minutes behind some of our other races, which is absolutely crazy. So it really is important to make sure that you are plotting out for the endurance races, you are plotting out those routes early. Obviously, that sort of style doesn't matter as much in the races that we'll be seeing today. These ones are more just about, you know, slamming your repetition, getting in your like very specific tight turns, and more importantly, especially for the first race we'll see today, practicing with other people. These are not time trial maps. And the reason I say that is because the tracks are not particularly large in terms of the width, right? So you've got to make sure that you can compete with other races on the track.
Now, I don't expect to see many collisions here. These vehicles have a little bit more reasonable top speed compared to you know, the Nox and the X1, as well, like the Cyclone, you know, capping at about 37. And, you know, there's a little bit of a difference there, but I think based on the speeds and the track here, we're going to see some good separation between these participants, but there is also a chance for some collisions. I don't think we're going to see nearly as many explosions, though. These are very well manicured tracks, thanks to those groundkeepers on these platforms. But
yeah, it's much less about explosions today and more just about, you know, if you may not be able to cut a corner the way that you want to because someone else is there. The collisions more in the form of just actually colliding and not exploding is going to happen a lot today.
Well, I also think with the collision, it is something that can knock you off track and potentially over the railing if you're in a narrow clearance area. So that's something that these racers are going to have to watch out for. Fortunately, Cloud Chaser's map with the heats, you're going to have less competition for that. And you'll be able to get a little bit more of a feel for it, hopefully by the time you get into the runner-up finals or the finale round.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, we did prepare, I don't know if they're ready right this second, but we did prepare also some eraser profiles for you guys so that you can see some of the races that we've experienced. And if we can go, we'll just go to the first one that pops up in our director's mind. And we'll talk to you guys a little bit about some of these races. As if you haven't been following the System 7 or maybe some of the other esports events that are hosted around StarCitizen, maybe you don't know some of these races, but I know who knows these races, and it's Twitch chat. Premier Corps Colonial, a team from France, a absolute favorite here in the chat. We have Amua, Captain Aoden, Engarif, and Lucci.
They've been putting up some impressive numbers, as well as being our audience favorite, getting the shout outs. Premier Corps Colonial getting the crowd favorite award so far.
Yeah, we saw a really good performance by Engarif last race, for at least the majority of the race, which was nice to see. Yeah, this is a team that has now participated in these events quite a few times, and they're becoming a bit veterans. Still waiting to see if they can perform a little bit better on the ladder, and hopefully today is their day to do it. Now, noticeably, we also have preferred controls across the board here, and we've got mouse and keyboard for the majority of the team, but Lucci with a gamepad. Now, we talk about preferred controls a lot when it comes to some of our pro teams because there isn't really a consensus. Everyone kind of has their own pros and cons, even among some of our absolute fastest races. So it is cool to see a little bit of variety here.
Yeah, and the gamepad obviously providing some unique control options over the mouse and keyboard, kind of that in-between point between mouse and keyboard and joysticks for overall precision. But as we've seen with these races, it all comes down to pilot skill. A good pilot can run on just about anything. So it's being familiar with your control scheme and executing properly to that within the bounds of the track.
Yep, exactly. So let's move on to another team. We'll tell you guys about another little team while our teams are getting set up. It is going to take a little bit as we're getting everyone ready. We're going to have Drunken Turtle Racing, one of the best names in the System 7 this year. We have Eraser, Kratagos, Ponza, and Alex. This is our team from Austria, and you can see a combination of mouse and keyboard and Hosas for this team.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Now, this is going to be our second time seeing Eraser. Kratagos is in there. We will be seeing Ponza today in race 2. So getting a great opportunity there. And yet to see Alex out on the racing track. But they have put themselves out there with a little bit of points. We got the 3 points on the leaderboard. They're in 14th place. And these guys are going to be hungry to put in something in the top 3, maybe top 5. To secure a little bit more points, bring them up into contention with those top 5.
Yeah. After race 3 and 4, you do really need a top 3 position in order to sort of stay in the game at the moment. So technically anything can happen. You can get back-to-back wins as it gets further, but if you want to be comfortable, yeah, you're going to want to try to get a top 3 today. So that's what we're going to hope there for Drunken Turtle Racing.
Yeah. So, obviously, seeing some good performance from a lot of these racers. And as you mentioned, the top 3, top 5, you've got 10, 12, 15, 18, 25 points on the line for each of the races. We could still see a significant shift today. There's 50 points for the 2 first place if you're able to lock that down. And those other teams, as long as they can hold on to maybe a top 3, top 5 position, hold on to that top position and be competitive still. Yeah, the heat structure is going to be interesting in round 2 or race 2 because we will have anybody who goes into the finale. Basically, you're guaranteed at least 12 points, up to 25.
Yeah.
The semifinal or the runner-up finale between 10 and 4 points, depending on your placement, and everybody else kind of getting that 2 or 1 point at the end based on your finishing time.
Yeah, the interesting heats really do change up the structure of the series, which I really enjoy, where it's like you have to perform consistently, right? You have to win twice is kind of the idea, which it doesn't happen very often. Sometimes you get lucky once through an endurance race, but this way you have to go through it consistently, and it makes it really interesting for when we get to the points at the end of the season. Now, obviously, as well, because both of our races today are lap based. the top lap for both races is in play today. So if you get the fastest lap across your heats in race 2 or just in general in race 1, if you get the fastest lap, you secure an extra point. And you might not think that matters. But if we quickly go and look back at the leaderboard, if that is possible, you can see a couple of these teams already after 3 races pretty close together. 1 point is going to make a difference as we go further. Obviously, Punch Nomi is at 61 points because they got that extra 1 point last week. Delta Dietus only currently 7 points ahead of Amarok's Fang, which means, one position could do it. But if they're able to secure a single point from a best lap, then that puts them ahead. So this is the first time that we've been using this system. So far, it's been really interesting. I'm really curious to see how it develops as we get towards the end of the season. Yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, and really, Team Punch Nomi is cashing in big yesterday. Gerba the Gnome setting an early best lap time at about 121. That was beaten during the runner-up finals down to about 120, and then Gerbo finishing it in for the finale run with 1 minute 19. So really locking it in between race 4 and race 5. Herbie taking first place, as you mentioned. That looked like it was about a 3-minute lead ahead of the other teams. So Punch Nomi is obviously understanding these tracks, and this goes back to what you're saying. You can get lucky once or twice with a good performance on a single run, but these heat-based and lap-based runs, you've got to know that track, and you've got to perform consistently in order to make sure anybody can get a good run once, but you've got to do it repeatedly, and that comes down to racer skill. Hey, we got some views of the starting grid as they're lining up here. Great mix of paints on these, those Grey Cat STVs, as we're preparing to start off race number 1, the Leisure Loop.
Absolutely love that we're using the tractor beam to make sure everyone's at exactly the right position on the grid. Huge fan of that. But this is what we're going to be watching today for the first race, guys. This is our 8-lap race with the STVs. And also, big appreciation from me to the racers for us using a couple of different skins there. I am a huge appreciator of that, as it certainly helps us quite a bit to distinguish between different races as we get into a bit of the dog days of the race.
Yeah, and just as you guys are watching from these in-game views provided by our camera crews, just a reminder, we may see these views shift slightly as racers are dealing with some crosswinds and some of the difficult atmospheric environment that's happening over on Crusader. Some tough conditions potentially here, just with the wind, but that mostly affects our camera crews. These racers firmly affixed to the ground. And hopefully those narrow bridge crossings, as we see on the overhead view, being the biggest risk for them.
Yeah, so here we go. We have our overview cam. This is something we've done the last few years that I've been really enjoying, actually. It's quite nice to get this little view of all of our competitors who right now are lining up in the top right. Also, just sorry, from our lovely CEO Corsair, we have been told prepare for explosions. So make sure you guys prepare for some explosions. We do love some explosions here. Hopefully, it's not too many of our racers that are involved in those explosions. As you can see, our setup here. Now, this is also interesting. Is a look at the setup. So you can see Herbie, Ludox, Enroll, and Checkleak right at the front of our grid setup. They're going to obviously be in the best position here. However, as has been proven in grid races in the past here at System 7, sometimes the front is not the way to be. My last System 7 that I participated in, we had a grid start for one of our Gravlev races, and pretty much everyone in the first 5 exploded almost immediately on the start. So you got to be actually, you know, sometimes you got to fight StarCitizen, and you got to keep that in mind when you're figuring out where you want to go. I would not be surprised if some of our races at the start don't gun it and just pull off to the side right at the start.
Yeah, and we saw that with Gerbo the Gnome last week and the 2 weeks ago in the reverse snake pit, actually holding back a little bit to avoid the chaos of this initial launch as these racers are all kind of trying to vie into a position. There's going to be some collisions. This first probably 20 or 30 seconds is going to be the biggest risk for these racers, since everyone's coming off the starting grid as fast as they can, trying to muscle in and get early position so you don't have to navigate and manage that overtake on these platforms.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we've got looks like our 14 races today. So who are we missing for today in our teams? Do you have that? Looks like, sorry, we will be missing
I
Flynn's Freeriders and Novak Racing, as far as I'm understanding. So
yeah.
the rest of the teams will be on board today. So let us know, as we're still setting up a little bit, but we've still got a little bit of time. Let us know in the chat, who are you going for today? We've got 2 races. I personally like. Look, I've been saying always that I'm a big fan of Punch Nomies. I feel like I'm contractually obligated to to root for Team Punch Nomies. But this story that's happening with Delta Dietis so far this year is getting me really excited. If we can see another team jump into that top 3 performance, I'm going to be a huge fan of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anybody that's close on that top 3, we're seeing position 6 through about 9 or 10. It's Test Squadron, Premier Corps, Venture Origins, Lee's Motorsports. They're kind of in the middle of the pack right now, and I think they're going to be hungry for it. Obviously, like Test Squadron, getting an early start, getting some points earlier on with I think a 4th place on the initial race 3. That, of course, securing a number of points, but they are just at that 6th position. If they can secure a top 5 position, I think they're going to be in contention with Blackhawks, Catcom, Animrox, Fang for that top 5. They've got an opportunity here, as well as Premier Corps Colonial are right behind them, 14, 13, and 12 points with that group. So if some of these groups top 5 finish could really put them up near the top, and of course your top 5 already on that leaderboard: Punch Nomies, Delta Dietis, Amarox, and Blackhawks, leading up in the front of the pack right now. They're going to be trying to manage that position very jealously, right? I think they're going to have some aggression as they come out, make sure they can establish an early lead with a benefit of not being in the middle of this pack. Really, the folks in the back are the ones that are going to be really working the hardest there. We got Neo Jet, Titch, and I believe Hannes Lost that are really trying to represent for their teams. So we'll need to see how they're able to manage today.
Yep, certainly. And not to mention everyone who, like, when you do have some of these teams that have performed so well in the past, in previous System 7s, a lot of pressure on them to not mess up and continue to keep that reputation, right? So they've got a lot more on the line than just some points today, for sure. But while we're waiting a little bit, let me tell you guys a little bit about Icon City, or rather, let Red tell you guys. I've seen Icon City in the chat there, so hello. They are one of our fabulous sponsors here at Esports. Red, over to you.
Yeah, well, our sponsor here, Icon City, from sci-fi themes to studio-grade layouts, Icon City brings personality and power to your Stream Deck setup. Use the discount code ATMO at checkout for a discount. So, Icon City, of course, working with your Stream Deck, really helping clean up those icons, and a great partner here for Atmo Esports.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, guys. We appreciate it a ton. So there we go. It looks like we've got some racers about to head into their cars now. The grid looks just about set up. Who's going to take it today, Red? Who's going to take this race?
It's hard to vote against Punch Nomies. We've got some opportunities out there for them to really secure their race, and we've got Herbie that's racing today. First in the System 7 2023. He's first on the ground racing leaderboards. He's got 14 first place times, 9 second place, and 8 third place. Really just a pedigree of a racer there, and I think he knows this track intimately. So I expect him to perform very, very well. But if we're looking at maybe one of those underdogs, I might be voting for Test Squadron. We're gonna see how they're able to perform today. We've got Renee coming back out that had 4th place in race 3 and getting 2nd place in the Crux Cup. Renee's had some examples of great performance. Obviously, some disappointing in the Snake Pit last week with the DNF going off track. But this will be a lot easier. I'd say Punch Nomi is obviously being the favorite, but I'm going to give Test Squadron the Black Sheep award here. Hopefully seeing a good performance and getting some points on there.
Yeah, Test Squadron are a team that have actually really surprised me so far this season. They, if you may remember, during our qualifiers, were right at the bottom and were gritting their teeth, crossing their fingers for a solid like 2 hours as we went through some of our last qualifiers, hoping and hoping and hoping that they wouldn't get knocked out. And they did just inch in, and they've been outperforming their qualifier during the regular races. So hopefully we get to see a little bit more of that performance come through. But kind of like you said, it is hard to beat Herbie in a ground race, just straight up. This guy is a beast in four-wheeled vehicles in StarCitizen. So I think my bet is going towards Herbie, but I really want to see what's going to happen here with Delta Didus and see if they can pick up quite a few points today. So we've got our 40-second warning. So our races are about to begin. Last chance, guys. Let's get some big hype in all of the chats. Let us know who you're going for, who is going to take our first race for today. 8 laps heading your way.
Yeah, and with just 20 seconds left to go, one other, we see a name right there in the middle of the pack, Sanji Sama, the solo racer for CRUSADER Racing Corps. A couple of disappointing finishes, some DNFs, and it looks like we're going with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're off.
Oh, that was perfectly timed, Red. There you go. Well done. And we are straight off, and Herbie is going to, looks like a little bit slow on the left side there.
Right into the light poles on that side.
Yeah, not 100% sure what's going on there, but Anrul and Checkleak I saw right at the front. Herbie maybe getting stuck on some debris there. We had some of our racers head into the sand dunes. That's not going to work out too well for them. And Anrul
that sand trap will get you.
Leader. Yeah.
Yeah, and we see Herbie really getting stuck on maybe a banner or a light pole on that initial platform, and they're working through here, trying to get these. You see some folks trying to go down the stairs, not exactly built for the off-road. This Grey Cat STV, so they're working, and you're going to see some teams get sideways, not quite all four wheels on the ground. That's going to be difficult, and of course, if you are trying to back up and reorient yourself during these turns. Some of them are pretty tight clearances, and obviously the physics and the collision happening here are enough to really gum things up. So a couple of dog piles, and we see Sanji Sama, it looks like, stuck in the middle there, and we got a collision between Ingrif and Eraser. It looks like one of them got rear-ended, Sanji Sama looks like he's able to maybe power cycle that vehicle and get it up to speed. We see looks like Menace up near the top there. Titch coming up behind that. Ludox, Ingrif, Checkleak, Herbie, Neojet, and JScript as they are working their way through the platforms here.
Yeah. So here we can see Anrul from Amarok's Fang is our current leader and is way out ahead of our competitors at the moment. Just behind them, coming around the bridge now, is Endermaster. But that whole start to the race is everything I was talking about with, like, look, these tracks are not particularly wide. Right at the start of the race, we see a ton of collisions, a ton of traffic jams. That's going to loosen up a little bit now as everyone gets around. But Anrul and Endermaster are way out ahead.
Yeah, and Anrul's got to be feeling really good right now. Team Amarok's Fang is currently in third place for the overall leaderboards, getting that early lead here and getting out away from the crowds. Seeing some clean lines through this area. Obviously want to watch out for pedestrians potentially, but really taking off uncontested. There's some benefit being out away from this cluster of other vehicles. And a little bit of spin out there. That's okay. We'll see some traction issues as these racers try and work through the various elevation gains and drops on this platform. But you see managing pretty deftly with this lower side.
Yeah, so here we go. You can see once again we got the big traffic jam. Now, part of this is probably going to be a little bit of desync. Part of it's going to be sort of just like the weird debris that's around these areas. If you recall, these are the areas where you can take some of those, those Siege of Orison light missions. And so, there's random barrels, there's random boxes around that you have to avoid. And if you clip one of them, sometimes it's going to stop you dead in your tracks. So it's going to be a hard one for some of our races to go through. But our first lap is through. Amarok's Fang are going to cross that with a 3-minute 21 seconds. So they're going to set the pace. We'll see what happens over the next couple of minutes, but also Endermaster with Catcom about 9 seconds behind.
Excellent timing there. And of course, the best time we'd seen was about 3 minutes 23 seconds during the initial kind of track setup. So we see Anreal really taking a significant lead. We see JScript from Liz Motorsports kind of at the back there, struggling to get through that track. Liz Motorsports, of course, position 9 on the current leaderboards. Endermaster. Endermaster representing Catcom. They are definitely hungry in 5th position. Looking at securing some points there. Titch looks like might be stuck in a sand trap from the current view. You've got to watch out for that. Looks like Nexus and Sire Racing both at 4 minutes 19 seconds, 4 minutes 22 seconds. We'll see some better performance as we go here. Premier Court Colonial at 4 minutes 28. Sire with 4 minutes 22. So we do see some folks working there, and we see Titch and Exildrian at one of our monitors here.
Yeah,
we
so
see
our races,
Neojet and Manislaus getting tangled up.
Yeah, I was about to say, now that they're a little bit further away from each other, they're going a little bit faster, but Neojet and Manislaus then immediately just started colliding, but they were right on top of each other. You saw just a little bit earlier, Nexus and Sire Racing Team crossed the finish line pretty much at the same time. So that's going to be a big development there for Neojet if he can continue this little gap that he's got there and pick up maybe a 3rd place position. We've got Renee and Anreal. So this is Anreal about to lap Renee, I believe, from Test Squadron. And you can see we've got another little traffic jam as everyone takes their turns crossing the bridge. I don't think anyone would ever want to even try to cross that with 2 right next to each other. So this has been a lot more aggressive than I thought it would be.
Sanji Sama getting the first lap completed. Oh, Anreal making a great move, passing Isotope. 3 teams in a row there, and coming up behind Czech League. Obviously, these teams seem to be kind of locked in this positional game as well. Just understanding where your debris is at, and Anreal definitely maneuvering around those obstacles, really showing the agility of this Grey Cat STV. Outmaneuvering quite a few, getting a lap over the top of all of them. JScript here from Liz Motorsports, as we saw before, and Herbie, the previous crowd favorite, seems to be running a little slow, trying to avoid a few things, but maybe that was a strategic swerve there. Trying to distract a few
Herbie
things.
now just about to sit in front of Anreal for the rest of the race, make sure they can't go through. Now, this is kind of crazy. Anreal just having much easier time, it seems, than a lot of our other competitors to get through this today. Although it looks like we've got another little bit of a jam here as we try to get through some of these spots. A couple of bits of debris that do not want to cooperate.
Yeah, getting some reports in chat that half the buggies aren't working, so. There may be some positional issues happening here. I think we saw JScript there in a sand trap, and that's Ludox. Oh, just some reason Anreal getting on the left side, Ludox bailing right into that sand trap. And here we see the group, Renee, Neojet, Manislaus, Sanji, Isotope, Eraser, and who's that in the back? As folks are just trying to get these vehicles to maneuver. One of the struggles there.
Oh, yeah, notably a bunch of.
There, Engriff.
I don't think that was desync. That is a jump. So that's an interesting one. A couple of our races there as well. You mentioned so Neojet and Manislaus were our second and were our 3rd and 4th position earlier, I believe. So they are also lapping some of these competitors as Amarok's Fang are going to head into lap number 3. This is very, very interesting. The map does not want to work for us today, it seems.
Yeah. And of course here, going for these laps, we've got Punch Nomis, Liz Motorsports both getting their 2nd. Now, we have not seen Delta Diotis or Venture Origins teams. Delta Diotis with Czech League and Venture Origins should see Isotope out there. Now, we saw them kind of stuck together in that initial pile-up, so you're going to want to watch out for that. We see Sanji Sama and Ludox rounding that corner. And Czech League just around that outside, seeming to have some difficulty getting in here. We have a little bit of debris, a couple of vehicles on their side as we get this view from Officer Rondog. Trying to get out and maybe reorient those vehicles with the tractor beam we see.
Yep.
And check leak, yeah,
Check
that
leak.
is a tight area, very difficult to be stuck in. Yeah. And Anril, once again, in the lead. And there we have Delta Diatus with lap 2 going in. Kuroda Sanji-sama completing at 8 minutes 55 seconds, finishing lap 3.
Yeah, and
Great
we're gonna make
views
their way
coming in here
through
as
on
well.
the left side on that little bridge section that we've seen quite a few times, and we may even see another lap here in a moment.
Yeah, and no vehicle explosions yet. So that's been good. We did see that one collision, which actually we had a pretty good launch there. That may have been a strategic benefit, but something you don't want to risk with these vehicles. Obviously, seeing a little bit of struggle today as they're trying to maneuver in between.
Yeah, now remember we are on 8 laps today, and the other important thing to keep in mind is the fastest lap that we see, which at the moment is held by Anril. There's a lot more that could go this way, so we'll see how long we go for.
Yeah, we are on lap 3. So far, nobody's fallen off those platforms. Oh, it looks like Premier Court Colonial.
It's possible someone just did.
That was Engarif. The commentator cursed. We'll have to see what the report is there from Engarif. And as you can see, Ludok's trying to get through that grassy area. The vehicle just kind of stalling out. Team Alpine Storm finishing lap number 3. That would be Titch86. J-Script and Sanji-sama. Nexus coming up. That's Manus Lost. And Drunken, the Drunken Controller Racing arrays are getting through. Venture Origins, that will be Isotope. So them completing their second. And again, with Premier Court Colonial on the DNF in round 2, that's gonna be rough. Secures themselves a 14th position in this one today. And we see Anril just taking off like crazy. Already on 4th lap, he's lapping others.
Yep.
Stuck here behind a
Razor. I don't know if you noticed.
Representing the Drunken Turtle
I don't know
Racing.
if you noticed just then. Sorry, Endermaster much further behind Anril than they were previously. If you remember, in that first lap, they were right on not right on top of each other, but within 9 seconds they completed the first lap. Endermaster was much further ahead just then. So we'll see where that ends up now as Anril is continuing to lap and continuing to get solid laps here.
Really outmaneuvering folks there, having an easier time with the vehicle, seemingly. So everybody else pretty much on laps 2 to 3 with Anril, and it looks like Catcom did just get into their Endermaster lap 4. So we see Herbie.
So I didn't get the
making his
exact
way
time
through
there,
that.
but I think about a minute behind Anril at the moment.
Yeah, and we see J-Script as well behind from Liz Motorsports. Some of these teams just trying to make up solid, consistent performance now that the pack is loosened up a little bit. A little bit of a rough one there, right in that tight corner as Herbie gets stuck.
Yeah, Herbie from Team Punch He's our current leaderboard headers, our current leaderboard first place. Not having a fantastic group of laps today. Still in lap number 2. Close to the back end of the laps now. And also looks like they're having some issues restarting their vehicle. We've been seeing this a lot so far today, as we're seeing a lot of vehicles just like kind of come to a dead stop in a couple of situations. So not 100% sure what's happening there. We'll likely won't find out until the end of the race, but obviously not working great here.
And Kuroda Racing at 12 minutes 39 seconds. That's Sanji-sama, again, the solo member of that team. Currently in 4th place on their 4th lap. Sanji's going to feel pretty good about that, getting some respectable points on there to get themselves up into a potential. And you see here, oh, this is risky. Check Leak and Ludox, are they going to try and navigate through here? Give each other a little bit of space, or risk it?
In a Suez Canal situation there with with almost blocking it, but able to get around just barely. I was a little concerned they were going to go off the edge there at one point. Actually, it looked like both front wheels on the side.
These platforms and these bridges are very tight clearance here. We see Endermaster and Renee right on top of each other. Andermaster, really, it's a good thing they put the guardrails up here. Hitting those light poles as they're trying to make their way in. We see NeoJet coming in behind, trying to get a clean approach. Yeah, they're NeoJet seeming to clear it just fine. Check Leak, Renee, Ludox, a couple of those folks in there. Check Leak from Delta Diatus, Renee from Test Squadron, and Ludox from Blackhawks. And Unreal up at the top. This is looking like our fifth lap, just about to complete.
Yeah, they're about to move into it. We'll keep note of the time here. We'll see just how far behind Endermaster and crew are, as we can see that we have a large amount of people here on lap number 4 now.
Yeah,
so there we go.
Passing
14,
by that,
18 when across the finish line.
All right. And you see that Anvil Pisces rescue there, just providing the initial top off before the race starts. Punch Nelmies completing lap number 3. That's Herbie. So seeming to recover, but definitely not happy with 7th place right now. Liz Motorsports, 8th place, also about 8 seconds behind. And we're having a great line there. We've seen this on the stairs, right? These small stair skips. These vehicles will stall out, have a bit of a difficulty with that elevation change. We see Alpine Storm, 14 minutes 55 seconds. That's Titch with their 4th lap.
And we are still waiting on Endermaster and crew to cross the finish line. It has now been a minute since Anvil crossed into lap number 5. So a very large
taking that shortcut across the sand trap there. A little bit of a risk, but it seems that that's a good strategy that's paying off. Still have not seen Endermaster. There we go. 15 and 25. So a minute and 7 seconds behind. But
a lot
with the space they've created.
Yep. I think at this point, 15, you're trying to fight for second.
Yeah, and a little bit of space here is going to be your friend. We see Check Leak sticking it out by those sand traps, Ludox and Renee coming in behind. So with a little bit of space, they're able to maybe navigate a little bit more effectively. But obviously, if the vehicles aren't cooperating, seeming to affect just about everybody on the racetrack today. So Check Leak from Delta Diatus, they are currently in 9th position, trying to get that 4th, maybe 5th lap through. And Sanji Sama with Kuroda, 4th place, taking over Alpine Storm.
Now, it does seem like, for the most part, that a lot of our racers have gotten back into the swing of things after the not too great first few laps. But we've still got, a couple of teams that are still sitting on lap number 2. We did just see Manislos, I think, get fixed by one of our other players, in which is a lovely fair play there after getting stuck. But still, once again, Anvil just insanely far ahead.
Yeah, Manislos, 6th position for the Nexus Racing team. And we saw Anvil again coming up and just passing everybody right now.
Yeah, another pass against
Isotope there. Landing up in that flower bed from Venture Origins.
Actually, very convenient there for Anvil, as Isotope was essentially right in the way. But as they sort of ended up on the side there, Anvil was able to get the pass pretty easily.
It's almost like he's spitting turtle shells out in front of him,
Anvil's actually in a P52. It's a little bit different. I don't know why everyone else chose to use an STV.
And there is a Razor from Drunken Turtle Racing. They're currently in 12th and 13th. So working on lap number 6. We see NeoJet and Titch here, both head-to-head, bumper-to-bumper as they come across there. Endermaster here are second from Catcom, right? So.
Yeah. Now, notably, obviously, we just saw NeoJet is ahead of Endermaster at the moment. So that little gap that we saw between 2nd and 3rd has swapped a little bit over. So NeoJet currently in 2nd. Obviously, they need to finish their lap, but there's been a bit of a fight there. Amarok's Fang are going to cross into lap number 6, which means they have 3 laps to go.
Yeah, lap number 6, 17 minutes, 53 seconds. Drunken Turtle coming in, finishing their 3rd lap. We saw, of course, a Razor just a few moments ago. So Anvil's going pretty well right now. Endermaster from Catcom We're going to see what that difference is. But 17 minutes 53 seconds. We're about a minute 7 off of the lead last lap. If they're able to make up time, but we see Animal taking this cut right across through the sand traps, which other teams I haven't seen trying that maneuver, but it is seeming to at least provide a little bit of benefit. That sand trap getting a little bit of that momentum stuck, kind of stalling out. We have Czech League with Delta Diatis trying to work through their 9th place and just struggling with the navigation in these tight areas. Ludox with Blackhawks coming up behind them. That's positions 9 and 10 right there on the same lap, really just trying to get out of each other's way. And there we go.
Yeah,
Sire Racing Team NeoJet.
This is really interesting. If the results end up this way at the end of this race, that is a really interesting development for the leaderboard, right? Like obviously Amarok's Fang would put themselves very, very far ahead in terms of points, as they've already been on a solid point amount, but both Nomis and Blackhawks are a little bit further down the way. Same with Delta Diatis. So yeah, if this continues this way, it's going to be pretty crazy. Now, it is important to mention, in addition to things like desync, in addition to just the amount of races that are on the track, this race just also is very complex. There's a lot of tight turns. The vehicle does not want to cooperate with you. There's a lot of random bumps and the like stairs and stuff that you can run into. So even Enril, our absolute fastest racer, just then you would have seen, still not prone to, or still prone to some of those collisions. So if you have not practiced this race extraordinarily heavily and you don't get a little lucky, then you're going to struggle.
Yeah, obviously being familiar with the track is a huge part, but you can't practice with this many other vehicles out there on a consistent basis, right? And that's really probably what's causing a little bit more of this havoc. Having 14 different vehicles all at the start line trying to kick off together, that's a nightmare for the physics engine to manage all of those potential interactions as we had that initial start. As we separated now, this track is opening up for players. We see those that are able to get out in front, seeing a little bit more benefit. Obviously, Enril having a significant, about a minute 20-second lead on the next one. The biggest struggle for Enril is trying to figure out how to pass all these people that he is lapping as they're going through.
Oh no, what a problem to have.
Yeah. Now, I do think Sire Racing NeoJet is going to be pretty excited with this second place. Really at 12th position with only 6 points right now, but able to secure quite a lot. Enril, 21 minutes, 23 seconds. So we're going to see how NeoJet comes in behind that. But it was about a minute and 18 seconds. We had seen Catcom with Endermaster that lost position to NeoJet over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what that gap is looking like at the moment as well, as that's sort of one of our big fights at the moment, right? Enril is very, very clearly in front, and barring any issues, should finish today in first place. But, there's always the possibility you end up accidentally collapsing towards the center of Crusader. So I won't guarantee it just yet. But if you actually look in the background of where we're looking right now, you can see, never mind as we move over, but you can see Endermaster sort of over the left side. There we go. We can see Czech League and NeoJet approaching the finish line there. So Endermaster still probably about 10 seconds behind NeoJet, but certainly enough time and enough laps to take it back.
Yeah. And we see NeoJet looks like right on top of Czech League, but getting some improvement, maybe able to resolve some of the vehicle issues that have been plaguing some of the others. I love this top-down view. We got Sanji Sama, Titch 86 all on the back half. Herbie and Ludox, we see Herbie, who's just struggled with the vehicle so far. Seems like there is some desync between inputs that is affecting these vehicles, but something that seemingly some pilots are able to overcome. Sanji Sama coming on to that back from CRUSADER Racing in 4th position. 23 minutes, 2 seconds for Catcom now, Endermaster, getting that taken care of. NeoJet, pretty decent lead ahead, but NeoJet might get stuck behind Herbie with an opportunity for Endermaster to catch up, make up some time.
Yeah, look, still 2 laps left for our main 3 competitors here, our top 3. So anything can happen at the moment, but you're exactly right. Neojet currently sitting behind Herbie, although 3 laps ahead of Herbie at this stage. We have 4 of our competitors on lap number 7, and I've got to imagine very, very soon we'll see Andrew cross the line into lap number 8. It's been a bit of a struggle this race for our competitors today. Hopefully, nothing too bad with any issues out of their control, and hopefully it's just maybe a problem, at least in some part, due to the fact that we just have so many races on this field.
Yeah, our top 4 is pretty well secured right now. They're all on lap 7, and we are seeing some good performance from those times. But yeah, Amarok's Fang, Anril up at the top, taking maybe a little bit cleaner lines into that first bridge, cutting across the sand trap where we've seen just a minute ago some of our other competitors not necessarily taking that shortcut route, going from maybe the more stable pathway. And we get another look here at Anril.
Yep, here we go. I believe we're approaching possibly the final straight here for Anril as they come around the golf course here into their final lap.
And we'll be looking at the time here. Liz Motorsports competing lap 5, just barely at Anril, rounding that corner, 24 minutes, 57 seconds. So basically 25 minutes, starting up lap 8.
Yeah, and as far as we can tell,
so far only one DNF with
lots
Premier Core.
Yeah, lots of laps for the rest of our competitors to do, but Amarok's Fang and Enroll at the moment probably securing the fastest lap as well. So assuming all goes well for them, this will be 26 points they're going to pick up.
Yeah, we see Neojet there, Endermaster, Sanji Sama kind of back in the pack. So that's our top 4 folks working on getting their laps locked in. Aniril's really got a crew there, 4 or 5 racers right on top of each other, trying to manage that bridge crossing. And you see from this top view, you can see Anril really cutting that garden path into that where Ludok's J-Script just right out there. And getting kind of boxed out there by Ludox. And we'll see if J-Script and Anril are able to cross there. No, you first. You first. Everyone taking their team.
Have pushed back into 7th place. They had lost that previously. They were sitting at 8th for a little bit there. So Herbie pushing a little bit further ahead, and maybe they can push a little bit forward. Maybe they can make their way into top 5 at the moment. But we've got some very, very consistent runs at the moment for our top 3 races.
Yeah, and we just saw Catcom, Endermaster finishing lap 7 on the final lap here. 26 minutes, 42 seconds, so about just under 2 minutes behind Anril. As our camera crew gets a little closer to that tower. And just kind of running the consistent lap here. Don't want to get too caught up in any of the crowds. Anril's taking it consistent.
Yeah,
a couple of vehicles ahead of them.
Go too crazy now. I think you can be pretty confident you're going to get fastest lap, at least at this stage. So just chill. Just try to finish the lap. Finish it and guarantee it. Don't run off the side,
Sanji Sama completing lap number 7 and lap number 8, 2 minutes behind Anril. But really, got to be really happy with that after a couple of early races with explosions, DNFs. But a good top 4 position here will get Kuroda Racing some points. So we're seeing Sire, Kuroda. Who else from kind of the back half of the pack so far on the leaderboard do we think is looking at securing some points, getting competitive today?
Yeah, well, we've got Alpine Storm at the moment in 5th place position. They are, leaderboard-wise, they are right at the back at the moment. They are on 15th place. So if they're able to secure some points here, they're going to be very, very happy with grabbing some stuff. Lease Motorsports as well, we've been watching. They're in 9th place position at the moment. However, in the leaderboard are in 9th place position, 6th place position in the race at the moment. However, we are seeing Punch Nomis push ahead through laps at the moment, and Nexus not too far behind them. So there may be a bit of an overtake here into the top 6.
Yeah, and I think our top 3 is going to see a real big shakeup here. Punch Nomi is obviously the 7th position right now. Delta Diotis at 9th position, Amrox Fang at 1st place. So that difference in points, we may see Amrox Fang take over, but Punch Nomies and Delta Diotis are just trying to secure some points, remain competitive for the overall leaderboard, and hopefully see some performance improvements there. And there we go. Amrox Fang, Anril completing lap number 8. So taking a run off to the side, letting the other racers continue their laps. There's Checklead, JScript, and Titch.
Yep, and with a fastest lap time of 3 minutes and 15 seconds. So that's what we're going to watch for determining if they get that additional point. But 26 points would put Amrox Fang at 74, which would be a huge, huge jump for them at the moment, sitting at 48. Then we'll put them well ahead of some of their biggest competitors.
Yeah, and of course, waiting on NeoJet and Endermaster from 2nd and 3rd place, with Sanji Sama coming up in 4th. They'll be coming off the track soon, leaving the opportunity. Now, Venture Origins right there, 13th place with 4 laps. That's Isotope, who we've seen struggle throughout there. NeoJet completing at 3 minutes 26 seconds this lap. With a 2nd place locked in for Sire Racing Team.
Catcom
and just a few seconds behind them, Catcom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So three finishes so far. Well done to our top 3 competitors today. Looks like at the moment our fastest lap is still going to be that 3:15 that we're going to continue watching, and that's going to be great for them. So well done to Sire Racing Team and Catcom. Yeah,
Ludox from Blackhawks will maybe see the Venture Origins Isotope slightly behind them, but Ludox on lap number 5 worked on complete those. And Sanji Sama completing 4th position. Sanji Sama's got to feel really great about that. 12 points secured, moving them up into about 20 for the day. So depending on positioning, could be just outside that top 5. With race number 2 coming up later on, we see Endermaster, Enril off to the side. Sanji, they're just trying to stay out of the way so far. And here we see Isotope. Isotope from Venture getting lap number 5. Manus Lost from Nexus. They're a lap ahead, trying to compete there with Punch Nomies, List Motorsports in that group.
Which, speaking of, I believe Punch Nomies may have just hit our fastest lap of the day. We'll obviously there's gonna be some reviewing of the footage today to make sure all of the timing was correct. But at the moment, the tag is there for them for the fastest lap, so they may be able to pick up at least 1 extra point here as they continue to try to move ahead and get ahead of Least Motorsports.
Yeah, and obviously Punch Nomies got to be disappointed with that initial start, just struggling with collision, terrain issues. But Herbie, no stranger to ground racing, able to make up and overcome those, at least to maybe get a bonus point for that. Here we see Isotope as they turn this corner. Liz Motorsports completing lap number 7. So we saw JScript on the back half there. Manus Lost from Nexus. We see just behind there. Going up those ramps, avoiding the staircase, since that is a little bit harder to maneuver over the top of.
Yep. Now, at the very least, we do have all of our races now in the second half of the race, which is nice to see. But it is, it has been a while since we've seen anyone in lap number 8. So it looks like this is probably going to be about a 45-minute race for us today. We can see Titch from Alpine Storm there. Currently, our fastest racer on the field still.
Yeah. And watching them as they come in, about to get in and start lap number 8. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That checkered flag as we...
Yep. And they're going to have one more lap for them. Now, Least Motorsports and Punch Nomies are on their tail. Punch Nomies are almost... I say on their tail. Punch Nomies were almost a lap behind as they only crossed into lap number 7 just before Titch came around there. So barring any issues, they should be able to clock in this position at 5th place, which, because of our points changes that we had this season, 5th place matters a lot more than it used to. So you got to be really, really happy with the top 5 positioning pretty much in any race today.
Yeah, and on that back half, we just saw Renee and a Razor. That's the Test Squadron and Drunken Turtle Racing, both coming in for their starting into lap 6. It looks like trying to vie for spot number 10, spot number 11, getting some points secured there.
There you go, Test
There
Squadron.
we see Test Squadron able to take over,
6. As well as Blackhawks.
There we go. The back of the pack here, really kind of tightening up here. Venture Origins Isotope that we'll be watching for just a few seconds behind there from Eraser, working on that back loop right into the finish line. JScript List Motorsports coming up, just about to start on to lap number 8. And of course, Alpine Titch on the bottom half of the track right now. Moving through, we'll see Renee, Razor, Ludox. They're cutting across that field into the first of the bridges.
Okay, so it looks like our 5th, 6th, and 7th place positions are all quite a bit away from each other at the moment. I would say probably roughly a minute and a half between each of them. So at this stage, they're going to be pretty solidly finishing in their spots here as Nexus comes around, also pushing into 7th place position. So now it's really going to be, who's going to be able to take over that 9th and 10th place to finish, sort of round out our points. But all of the majority of our points for race number 1 have been pushed in. If you're just joining us, Amarok's Fang far ahead of our competition, pretty much from the get-go. Got our positions well, as we see Herbie and JScript avoid a collision there in the middle.
Really want to watch out for those. We see Check Leak here. Looks like sending it right into the sand trap. So watch out there for Delta Diatus Racing, currently in 9th position, trying to get lap number 7. It started as they go through here. And here's where we saw Anrail really kind of taking off, cutting across this grass and that sand trap. But other folks are going more conservative on the paved pathway and opting for the hard right onto that bridge.
Yeah,
and there we see Titch
here with Titch, who is with Alpine Storm, and currently our leader of the remaining 8 races that we have on the field. So we'll see how they end up here. They should, once again, pretty solidly lock in 5th place. Least Motorsports and Punch Numbers were quite a bit far behind them earlier. So only a large issue here, I imagine, is going to cause them any problems.
So we see Titch just trying to navigate here, and Ludox right behind with Blackhawks. They are on lap number 6. Titch being a little bit ahead. Alpine Storm on lap number 8. So Ludox getting a little bit of time here, making up on some of the earlier laps. See on this back stretch right into the narrow clearance here. We saw some folks get really struggling off and on through that corner.
All right, so that's going to be Ludox moving into lap number 7, but it also is going to mean Titch is about to cross the finish line right now. So here we go, seeing Titch cross on over. And there we go. So the fastest lap is a 4 minutes and 14 seconds for Alpine Storm. They're going to lock themselves in 5th place position, and they're going to love those extra 10 points that they're going to get to add to them. Once again, they started today at 3 points. So pushing themselves into in a bit of competitive spot and making it much easier for the next few races.
Yep, 10 extra points gets them into the middle of the pack with another race today, and then 2 more races behind this. I think it's going to be something that they'll have some competition for going through the next couple of runs. But hopefully, at least getting these points, it's got to feel good coming in from as far back as they have been. Here we see Isotope representing Venture Origins, currently in last place. They're on lap 6, trying to start up on lap 7. There we have List Motorsports finishing position number 6. So
With
They
apparently
were
a fastest
ninth
lap of
position.
3 minutes and 5 seconds, which I believe is actually the fastest we've seen so far. Once again, we'll have to get confirmation of all of the lap times after the race fact, so we don't know 100% who's going to get that extra point. But from what I've seen, what I've seen reported, that is the fastest lap we've seen today. So a little bit of information as we approach the end of this race. This race is going to go to tribunal, so there may be some incidents that happen to this race after the fact, but it has been an absolutely fantastic one to watch as Punch Nomi's also crossed the finish line there with a fastest lap of 3 minutes and 5 seconds. So they're going to lock in 7th place.
Yeah, and they're again probably very disappointed with 7th position, but taking back over that fastest lap up to this point. We see Renee getting launched sideways, trying to correct the vehicle here, out with that tractor beam, getting it righted in order to resume play. But obviously a struggle. These racers trying to fix that issue midway through run, and it looks like using the side of that planter bed to push that vehicle against because the rotation speeds on that tractor beam are somewhat limited. So getting a little creative, solving problems and improvising as we're out on this track.
Yep, definitely.
And making a clean line across the sand traps there, and a little bit of a hang up on the sharp right corner onto the bridge. All right, Ludox coming in. Ludox with the Blackhawks, about to start lap number 8. So we have Team Nexus. Manus lost. That will be our next finisher potentially, but overtaken by Ludox from Blackhawks. Did we miss Manus in that corner there?
Very
overtaken.
possibly. We're about to see Chuckly come around as well to jump into their 8th lap here. Only a few points that we're fighting for in these last few minutes.
It's a good opportunity to check your game settings, compare them versus what our camera crews are doing. There we go. Ludox, Isotope there. Yeah, man. Blackhawks now starting on lap 1 before Nexus. There, Manus lost. Where are we seeing them on? Right there in the middle of the pack there with Eraser from Drunken Turtle Racing. That's really the battle right there. We see several racers. Manus lost, having to go maybe a little off track there.
Yep, so here we go. We've got a little bit of a fight. Manus lost, Eraser, and Isotope all on top of each other right now. Manus lost goes a little bit too close to the side there. But looks like they've recovered, and they're going to approach into their lap number 8. As Eraser and Isotope, though, have a little bit of a decent collision, it looks like there. As Eraser
that looked like it was desync. It represented as a potential collision. Yep. But yeah, very, very close there. Manus with Nexus and Drunken Turtle Racing, both 1 minute, 1.45 seconds apart. So they're going to be pushing real hard. Now, we did see a couple of folks almost end up off the platform. The good news about these platforms is you've got the rest of your life to figure it out, right? If you fall off. So there is no recovery, unfortunately. And maybe what we saw happen with Premier Core at the beginning of this race here, lap number 2, Engarif getting knocked out. Here we see Checked Leak coming in with Delta Diatus. Seeming to lead the pack right now.
Yeah, and really right now it's all a race for 8th and 9th. 8th place gets you 4 points, 9th place gets you 2. Everyone else gets 1 point. So this is what we're mainly competing for in the section. And I do like that a lot of our final races here are within a lap of each other for the most part. It means we did get like a couple of groups sort of bunched up towards the end there. But not too many issues.
We saw
Test Squadron laps are going through pretty fast.
And Isotope, so we'll see Isotope cross here momentarily, and that'll put everybody else on the track on their final lap with Isotope crossing over here in, just momentarily.
Yep. Now remember, as we are approaching the end of this race, this is not the only race we are running today. We're going to be running this one back with some heats. We're going to be heading over with the mule, and I'm hoping that we have not as many issues as we seem to have had in this race today for some of our competitors. And we have a nice little fight here. Blackhawks, Ludox is going to cross the finish line there with the fastest lap of 3 minutes and 9 seconds and lock up 8th place position. Well done to you.
Yeah, and 8th place securing 4 points. A 9th place will be 2 points, and then the remaining teams will get a single point. Again, with that fastest lap, currently tagged to Punch Dummies with Herbie, who had we'll call it a rough start here. Vehicles coming undone, seemingly during that initial grouping up of these vehicles to start.
Yeah,
words are hard.
Words are hard.
There we go. Delta Diatis with Check Leak.
Yeah. Fastest lap of 3 minutes and 29 seconds, locking in 9th place, which gives them 2 points for today's race, which the rest of our races are going to clock in 1 point. However, there is, of course, still the fastest lap time, and it very well could be one of these races here. So I'm going to watch them across the finish line as we're looking at a Razor from Drunken Turtle moving to that final section.
Yeah, coming right across that sand trap, and yeah, coming to the left side, we see our finishers lined up, ready for transport, and some of these racers coming back for race number 2. That Cloud Chaser circuit that's happening just after this. So, and there we see a Razor from Drunken Turtle Racing. Yeah. Coming across that finish line. And there we go. Nexus getting passed up.
Yep, with a fastest lap time of 3:28 for Drunken Turtle Racing. So here we go. Mattis Lost also about to cross the finish line now.
Yeah, and just waiting for Renee and Isotope out on the track for the final 12th and 13th positions here.
Yep, and luckily it looks like they're towards the end. So Renee actually coming around for the last section right now. Isotope right in the back still, so quite about half the lap left, I believe, for Isotope, as Renee is going to come around into the final straight.
And cruising across the sand traps, passing by the flag there. Right between the trees. It's a view we haven't been able to get up to this point for a lot of the racers. A lot of things going on, but as they navigate through here.
Yeah, like I said, even taking out of mind all of the potential issues that we might have had today, it also just is a very difficult track. Like it's really, really a bit of a mess of terrain in some locations if you do not know the exact turns to make and how to make them.
And Isotope coming up on the final lap as well. Isotope around in the corner between the buildings here. Coming into view just momentarily. And as you saw there, you did mention, difficult track with the vehicles having a little bit of positional desync, with the platforms having this sloped edge. On that back half, you see, we saw Renee, all 4 wheels onto that slope segment, leading off into the abyss below these platforms, but holding it steady for that last run. And we see Isotope bringing it in. Oh, flipping sideways, but righting themselves with that planter bed here. Oh, and trying the 17-point turn.
Let's hear it in any of the chats if you're here on YouTube or if you're on Twitter or Twitch or wherever. Let's give a big shout out to Isotope. Everyone give support for our final racer to cross the finish line today as they head into the final section.
Yeah, and cutting across with that last little bit below the platform here.
A little bit of a spin out
and on the outside of those trees. Yeah, donuts. Gotta do them. And we see the rest of the racers out there with their vehicles watching Isotope come in for the finish.
Yep. And there we have it with a fastest lap of 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Isotope for Venture Origins is going to finish that one up and drive directly off the track. Fantastic. We appreciate
Oh.
we appreciate the style, Lester. We appreciate
Finishing with style.
No. So that is going to be all of our races finished for this race. Now, once again, we did mention that this is likely going to go to tribunal because of some issues that we had during the race. But if all goes well with that, that was an absolutely huge development and a fantastic race there from Anril. So once we get all that in place, we will let you guys know what happens. But now we're going to get started and get ready for our next race. We're going to forget all about this one and we're going to move on to the next one. And the next one is going to be all in heats. Tell us a little bit about it, Red.
All right. Well, this one is the Cloud Chasers platform. This is an older track, wider pavement here that's going to have better space for overtakes. We had that. We saw this traffic jam be a big struggle for several of our teams on race number 1. Now, there is a hard right turn on the back of the track that I think we might see a little bit of a pile up at, those dog piles with the vehicles, but these are being running with the Drake Mule. We may see players opt to run with the forks out. Of course, the Mule kind of having this forklift front to haul the SCU boxes underneath. So, yeah, we'll have to see how they're able to manage it with that older, a little bit wider space.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting one to watch. We're going to get our races set up and ready for that first heat, guys. In the meantime, we'll take a very, very short break so that everyone can get some water, including all of you out there watching. Make sure you stay hydrated, and we'll be back very, very soon for race number 2, which is technically race 5. Don't think about it too hard. We'll see you guys soon.